Hello, my little yarnivores. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial for you. So today I'm going to show you how to make this super easy, super lovely linked diamonds scarf. Okay, so as you can see, the tip of the scarf, we've got a point, and then it grows out, and then it shrinks back in. And this is so easy. Oh, love it. And the color changes are with a super duper yarn, Red Heart Boutique Treasure. No, I'm not sponsored, but I love the subtle yet striking color changes as it progresses. And the colorway for this was, I believe, called Portrait. So it keeps going in and out and in and out. And it's really quite simple because it's the garter stitch. And it just keeps going and going. And as you can see, sort of like linked diamonds. That's why I'm calling it that. And it just, it's so lovely, but it's so easy. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So what you're going to need, obviously some yarn. You don't have to use this yarn. It's, like I said, Red Heart Boutique Treasure. And I'm going to use this colorway here, which is watercolors. Actually, it reminds me of Monet's Water Lilies. It's so yummy. I love it. So I'm going to use this for this tutorial. So if you're using a worsted weight, I would suggest, using, either a size 8. I like to use a size 10 knitting needle. So I've got them right here. And I'm going to start with DP ends, and then I'm going to go up to a circular needle, so it makes it a little easier. And this is, love it. It's great. Finished it maybe a week or two ago, and I couldn't wait to show you guys. So let's get started, shall we? Okie dokie. Now, you really do not need a long tail because after we do our obligatory slip knot, we're only starting with that one stitch. How easy is that, right? So what we're going to want to do is we are going to keep increasing one stitch per row. Okay, so since we have our first stitch there, technically speaking, we turn the work and we are going to do a KFB, otherwise known as a knit front back. So we insert our needle as if to knit. Okay. And grabbing the, not the tail yarn, but the working yarn. Made that mistake more than once, let me tell you. So we grab the working yarn and we wrap the yarn as if to knit. We pull through, but we do not finish the knit stitch. We go back in through the back of that first loop, like so. And we knit that stitch as well, and we knit off. So we started with one, now we've got two. And then what you're going to want to do is pull that up just a little bit, not too tight. Then we turn the work, and we do it again, and again, and again. And now you can make this however you want to. This is actually a variation of the pattern that I found. So again, you knit the first stitch, as always, and then the second stitch, which in this case is the last stitch of this row, you do a KFB. So knit through, and then you knit into the back of the stitch, like so. And then we have 3 stitches. And it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing in a triangular fashion. Now, like I was saying, you can make this as wide or as narrow as you want to, totally up to you. And me, what I did, I'll show you real quick. Let me grab this example here, is I kept having the scarf grow outward until I reached 40 stitches. Now, typically, I like my scarves to be 30 stitches wide. Now, the thing is that when you're shrinking in, if you want to make a fairly dramatic taper inwards, I found that going down to 20 stitches worked really, really well for me. So going up to 40, and then we're going to go down to 20, and then back up to 40, down to 20, up to 40, down to 20, and it's just back and forth. So in a zigzag sort of way. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue on in this fashion where you knit the stitches across in a regular garter fashion, just knitting all of your stitches. And then it's always the last stitch that you do the KFB. So I'm knitting these two and then doing a KFB. And so you're just increasing each row by 1 stitch. And in my case, I kept doing that until I reached 40 stitches. And then I will show you how to do the opposite. And instead of growing, we will shrink, and we will do so together. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this for a bit, and then I will show you what to do next. See you in a bit. Hello again. Alrighty, so as you can see, I've been knitting away like a little spider on way too much caffeine, and I am now up to 40 stitches. The very last stitch that I did was a knit front and back, okay? So I'm at the 40, and now this is where we're going to start on in the decrease. So again, I'm going to continue to knit all the way across, and then when we get to the end, I'll show you what to do. I'll be back in a flash. Alrighty, so I made my way across, and now I'm going to get to my last 2 stitches, and then when you are at your last 2 stitches, all you have to do is just knit these last 2 stitches together. Now, you could go in through the front like that. I like to go in through the back, just because for me, I find that it's actually easier. So what I like to do is go in through both stitches. Now this yarn is a bit fibrous, so it can be a little bit tricky, but hey, I am determined. Okay, so going through both stitches, through the back. I'll do that again. Sometimes it's easier if you're priming the stitches first. There you go. And then knitting those 2 together. Just be careful that you have all of your plies on your needle there. And I didn't because, again, as I said, this yarn is somewhat fibrous. It is absolutely beautiful, and I would highly recommend it. There you go. Ta-da! So now from 40 stitches, we now have 39 stitches. Simple enough, right? So then, again, starting at this point, going all the way across until you reach the end, and then knitting those 2 together again. And so we went all the way up to 40, and we're going to continue on in this fashion until you only have 20 stitches on your needles. Okay? And I mean, that's, like I said, that's the ratio that I came up with that works for me. Now, you could make less pronounced zigzags or diamond shapes, which however you want to call them. I call them, diamonds. Yours could be less pronounced if you so choose. And if you do that, which you're totally allowed to do, I mean, hey, this is all about being creative, right? So what you could do, if you want to make them less pronounced, what you could quite conceivably do is go up to, say, 30 stitches on your initial triangle and then go back down to 20. I wouldn't suggest, if you are doing this as a scarf, I wouldn't suggest going as your minimum being less than 20 stitches. Because if you go less, the middle point where your diamonds connect isn't going to be as substantial as you might want. So, consider, when you're thinking about the dimensions, the maximum width versus the minimum width, the ratio that's going to work for you. For me, 40 at the widest, 20 at the narrowest totally worked for me. And that's why I'm suggesting it to you. Because, that one piece worked great for me. And, again, I love this yarn because of the whole self-striping, muted two-tone colors. I absolutely love it. Now, you could use a variegated yarn, which would look lovely with this, even if it's a short way variegation as far as the length of the different colors. Another thing that you could do is you could change colors, use solid colors and change the colors after you finish a diamond. Say, you get to, the 40, okay, and then you change colors, and then when you reach the 40 again, change colors again, so you end up with blocks of color. That is something actually I did think about doing. It's totally up to you. The world is your oyster. Crack it open, see what you find. And that's the beauty of what we do, isn't it? And so I'm just going to stitch along, and I'm going to show you how to do that decrease again. That is, of course, if you're not familiar with the decrease. And what I love about this is that it is very simple. You just need to know how to do a KFB and a K2 tog, or a knit two together. And other than that, it's very, very simple. There's not a tremendous amount of thought involved, and sometimes simplicity is what gets us through the day. And it looks absolutely fabulous. It's got a really unique shaping and styling to it, and that's what drew me to the pattern initially, that it isn't just a typical rectangular scarf, which, yes, we've all seen those before, right? So I'm almost to the end of my row, and we will end it at that. So it's basically just increasing, decreasing, and not trying to be entirely long-winded with this tutorial, but I do like to be thorough because I want to make sure that it's all understood and clear. All right, so I'm just about to my last 2 stitches here. My label keeps getting in the way. There we go. All right, so we're at the last 2, and all you have to do is just go in through the back there. And making sure that both plies are on there. Wrap the yarn around, and then pull the yarn through and slide off. Boom. All right, so listen, I hope you guys liked this tutorial. I know it was fairly simplistic, but then again, simplicity can be a good ally of ours. Now, as you can see on this side, it's starting to come in a little bit, and on this side, it is starting to come in a little bit. Now, another thing that you could do, I'm just throwing it out there, you could do within this field some yarn over eyelets. That would look really nice. I'm not going to do that for this tutorial, but again, you can play around with this pattern. The shape is the beauty of it. So listen, if you liked the video, please hit like. If you have any questions or comments, please hit the comment section down below. I love hearing from you guys, and your feedback is important to me, and I just had to share this with you. And listen, if you want more videos, please hit subscribe because I do try to post as often as I can between the knitting and the crocheting and all sorts of goodies just for you. So until next time, I want you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.